The Diamondbacks are led by one of the premier players in all of baseball, Paul Goldschmidt. The three-time All-Star leads a tough Arizona lineup. It's up to Madison Bumgarner to contend with Goldschmidt and the D-backs as the Giants ace tries to pitch the orange and black to a sweep. Giants D-backs in another NL West showdown next. We've got day baseball here on this Sunday afternoon as we get ready for Giants baseball. Giants Diamondbacks as they wrap up this three-game series. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dwayne Kuiper. Alongside me is John Miller. Mike Krukow will join us tomorrow night in San Diego. Well, the Giants have won the first two games in this series. Now, it's really difficult to sweep a team, especially on the road. But the Giants are playing well, and they've got a shot to do that today.
Yeah, if you could do the first two games of a three-game series with Madison Bumgarner laying in reserve for the third game, that gives you a really good shot for a sweep. But he'll be going against Patrick Corbin, just back from the Tommy John surgery, and he looked like he was on a route to stardom before the Tommy John. So he's got excellent stuff. His last start, he was pitching very well, and then about the fourth or fifth inning, he started making mistakes and got lit up. So the Giants know they're in for a tough one here today. But right now, this lineup is very confident. They've scored a lot of runs in the first two games. They've got a lot of hits, and especially those guys at the top, Pagan, Panic, and Duffy. They're on base all the time for Buster Posey, and Buster drove in 4 last night, partly as a result of that. So the Giants are ready to go with that lineup and always feeling confident with Bumgarner.
Buster is back in the lineup after a couple of long days behind the plate. All right, it should be a good one. A couple of good lefties. Stay tuned. We'll take you to our Comcast Sportsnet studios for an update, and we'll do that right after this.
on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
The D-backs are on the field, so we're just moments away from getting started. Here's the game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Outside the ballpark, 95 degrees. It's cooled off considerably. Inside in the air conditioning, 78 degrees. The humidity, 35%. The roof, of course, is closed.
All right, let's take a look at Bruce Bochy's lineup. Against Patrick Corbin, it'll be Pagan, Panik, and Duffy. Buster Posey, he has been red hot over the last 17 games and also in this series. Pence will hit 5th, and it's Crawford, Maxwell, and Belt, and Bumgarner will hit 9th. On the mound is Patrick Corbin, and Corbin only making his 3rd start. He's coming back after surgery. We talked about Chase Anderson yesterday. Fastball changeup. You can say the same thing about Corbin, except he's a left-hander. In the outfield, it'll be Inciarte, Pollock, and Tomas from left to right. Hill, Ahmed, Owings, and Goldschmidt from 3rd to 1st. And catching Corbin is Wellington Castillo.
And we begin, and it's a called strike to Angel Pagan, and we are underway. And that's back out of play. Pagan, who had a 2-hit night last night, and his batting average is on the ascent right now, going back to the series with the Phillies just before the All-Star break. Pagan has been at his very best this year, batting right-handed. The slider in the dirt, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. The umpiring alignment, the crew chief, Paul Nowert, is behind the plate. Ed Hickox, Mike Estabrook, and Jim Reynolds around the bases from 1st to 3rd. Here's Paul Nowert. Giants scored 8 runs last night, 6 on Friday, and they've had 30 hits in the first 2 games. And that's all for Pagan. Nasty slider to put him away from Corbin. Not Joe Panik. Panik, who last night was on base 4 times in 5 plate appearances, and he had the 3-hit game here on Friday. So he's red hot. He's looked just like an all-star so far in this series. Hitting .315 for the year. And Panik has a .379 on base percentage. Owings, 2 down. And now Matt Duffy. Corbin is today celebrating his 26th birthday. And I suppose if you've actually gone through the Tommy John surgery, because we're all kind of jaded to it when you're around the game, because it seems to happen all the time to so many pitchers who then come back. But it is quite an ordeal going through the rehab process. But this guy looked like he was on a trajectory to become a star. His last full season, 2013, he missed all of last year. 2013, for a team that wasn't that good, he was 14-8 with a 3.41 ERA. And that's a low strike to Duffy. 94 miles an hour.
Well, if he's healthy, you can see that he's thrown the ball extremely well. And at 26, he can pitch a long time and pitch well for a long time.
2-1 the count. The Giants against Patrick Corbin Hunter Pence has had the most success in the past. And Hector Sanchez, who joined the club today, also has done extremely well against him, although Hector's not in the lineup. Count 2-2 now to Duffy. And we should mention the Giants did make it official before the game. There's Hector. He's in town from Sacramento, joining the ball club today. And Andrew Susac was placed on the disabled list with the right thumb sprain. He was given an MRI today just to make sure there wasn't any other damage. That ball was just clobbered right over off the screen in front of the Giants dugout.
Yeah, I think it hit right at Hector Sanchez. Well, maybe a little ways away, but that's what you're talking about. Said Hector Sanchez left this morning at 5 o'clock to get here.
And that got him. So Duffy hit by the pitch. Here comes Buster Posey.
Here's our Togo's big play the Togo's way. Buster Posey last night, but he had a 2-run single in the 3rd and an RBI single in the 4th, and he came back with another RBI single in the 8th. So a good night for Buster Posey. He's got 63 RBIs on the season, and that ranks him 5th in the National League.
He's 1 behind Washington's Bryce Harper, 9 behind the league leader, Paul Goldschmidt. Ball 1.
I believe, John, and I'm not the only one, that if he played in this park, he would have as many RBIs as Goldschmidt, maybe more.
Well, Buster certainly has done well in these kind of RBI, and he's not got a runner in scoring position at the moment. Well, that's almost the carbon copy of his hit last night. Went to the same spot. They were playing him the same way as Duffy goes around to 3rd. It wasn't the same kind of a pitch, but the same result, and the Giants have a 2-out threat.
Well, what he's doing is if Corbin's going to throw that fastball away and they're going to give him that hole, then he's going to go the other way. He's done it the entire series.
And one of the differences in this park versus AT&T Park in San Francisco, if he hits one squarely and gets it airborne to right field, it'll go.
It'll hit it out.
And most likely not to happen at AT&T Park. Not that it never happens, but not often. Hunter Pence, and that's a call strike. We mentioned Hunter Pence is worn out Corbin in the past, a .474 batting average against him. He's had 9 hits, including 2 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs. 300 average for the year for Hunter Pence. Giants trying to jump ahead here against Corbin. Slider and a foul. It's 0-2. Pence last night had an RBI single and also 3 walks. He also has a .352 on base percentage. Although for Pence, this is only his 26th game of the year. The outfield is shaded a bit toward right against him. Another slider in the dirt, way inside toward, as Mike Krukow likes to say, a back foot slider.
The old back foot slider, and that one didn't do a whole lot to set up the next pitch, but ever since Pence has hit that fastball on Friday night that was up and he hit it to right field, he hasn't seen that many fastballs.
And on deck, there is a base open. On deck is the left-handed hitting Brandon Crawford. Another slider, a check swing, and it goes to 2-2. Giants heading off to San Diego right after this game, which is not a very long flight. They'll have the night off in Southern California and open the series against the Padres tomorrow night. Well, he ran that fastball right in on the hands.
So Krug picks us up tonight. Probably have a nice big SUV, and then we can party in the gas lamp tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but maybe.
There's always a first time.
Yeah, probably not, but.
So we won't go by past experience on that one. That's a fair ball. What a play. Noah. Oh, foul ball. Jim Reynolds, he just started waving his hands at first, and then all of a sudden pointed foul.
Now the question is would Hill, as we take a look at this, and it's foul.
Yeah.
Would Hill been able to get up and throw Pence out? It would have been interesting. And we know how quickly Pence can get down the line.
You know, Pence, each of the last 2 years as a Giant, has had right around 24, 25 infield hits each season. Still 2-2 to Hunter Pence. Runners at first and third, 2 down. Ahmed gets to it, and the feed to Owings forces out Buster Posey. The Giants go down. Bumgarner to the hill.
And here's Chip Hale's lineup facing Madison Bumgarner. It'll be Ahmed, Inciarte, and then Goldschmidt. Now Goldschmidt, his average not that good against Bumgarner, but all the other stuff's pretty good. It'll be Pollock, who's got some ownage as well, followed by Castillo, Tomas, and then Aaron Hill. Chris Owings is going to hit 8th, and Corbin will hit 9th. Madison Bumgarner making his 19th start already. This will be his 4th start against these D-backs, so he hasn't missed them this year. He's got a win and a loss in the 3 starts, and he's 7-5 lifetime. Overall, lifetime, he's got a terrific earned run average against these D-backs. And he's coming off a game where the Giants scored 15 runs in his last win. So Bumgarner on the hill after his all-star appearance on Tuesday. Behind Bumgarner, it will be Maxwell, Pagan, and Pence in the outfield. From left to right, Duffy, Crawford, Panik, and Belt from 3rd to 1st, and Buster Posey catching his longtime friend Madison Bumgarner.
And they have a real great working relationship, and if circumstances work out where the best opportunity for the Giants to give Posey a day off is when Bumgarner's pitching, they go talk to Bumgarner about it first. There's ball 1 to Ahmed. Ahmed has 5 hits and 12 at bats against Bumgarner. Pretty good swing right there. 1 ball, 1 strike. When the Giants get to San Diego and open that series tomorrow night, Tim Hudson will return from the disabled list, so the Giants will have to make a move to activate him. And it could be sometime during that series that Jeremy Affeldt, if all continues to go well. As you see Hudson and Peavy talking it over. And the count goes to 2-1. If all continues to go well for Affeldt and his rehab, he could get it activated. Probably not tomorrow night, but maybe Tuesday or Wednesday in San Diego. So the Giants would have a couple of roster moves to make. 2-2, and he fooled him big time on that one.
Well, we were both remarking in between innings about the range that this young shortstop has. Off the crack of the bat, we both thought that that was a base hit by Hunter Pence.
I thought it was going through. We've seen balls like that go through all through this series. Curveball hit high in the air. Panic going out. One away.
All right, let's take a look at our AT&T UVerse rewind. July 10th, Bumgarner's last start. We talked about the 15 runs the Giants scored. He gave up 8 hits and 5 2/3. 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. He threw 103 pitches. And he admitted that it wasn't his best stuff, but his stuff is still good enough to pick up a win anytime.
He allowed 2, and he scored 1 and knocked in 1 himself. So just for Bumgarner personally, he tied the Phillies in his time in the game. And he had a big hit in what ended up being an 8-run rally in that game. 1 strike to Inciarte. At the knees, strike 2 called.
Well, he has to get that pitch. And Paul Nauert obviously thinking that it's a strike, but it's as good a pitch as you can throw.
Inciarte is another guy who's had some success against Bumgarner. He's 7 for 19, a .368 batting average versus Bum, and so it's no coincidence that Chip Hale has those 2 at the top of the order, Ahmed and Inciarte. The guys who've had the most success against Bumgarner are the guys hitting in front of Paul Goldschmidt, trying to create RBI chances for the great Arizona slugger who's on deck. Chip Hale, who is from the Bay Area, now the Arizona manager, first year. Out of play. Inciarte came up last year when the D-backs had a lot of terrible injury problems in their outfield, and they brought up Inciarte and also Peralta from the minor leagues, and both of them were keepers. They both played well. Just a bit low.
Well, after the Diamondbacks traded Gerardo Parra, it was like, well, what are they doing? These guys filled that gap.
Pollock went down with an injury. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's going to have to be a quick play for Crawford. Out. That guy is a very fast runner. Ender Inciarte.
You'd like your first ground ball, if you're playing on the infield, to be a little bit more of a routine ground ball. This certainly is not, only because of the speed of Inciarte and how softly the ball was hit. But the beauty of Crawford is his quick hands and his ability to get rid of it. And there you see the speed. He can get down there in a hurry.
Paul Goldschmidt, curveball for a strike. Now Goldschmidt has not had a lot of success against Bumgarner. He's had his moments. He has his moments against everybody. He's had 8 hits, 34 at bats, only a .235 average, but 2 home runs. Having a great year. That's foul. He still leads the league in batting average, leads the league in RBIs. And look at that, even in the bar, they're paying attention when Goldschmidt is up. We have a shot out there last night, and they were kind of in a circle, just chit-chatting. Goldschmidt comes up, everybody pays attention.
Absolutely.
0-2. Base hit, left center. Goldschmidt with a big turn. He's going for it. Maxwell's throw, and he makes it.
Only a slight bit of hesitation coming around first did Goldschmidt have before he decided that he was going to go for it. But that pitch middle in away from the target. Here's the hesitation. And then he kicks it into that final gear, and he needed it. Otherwise, he'd have been out.
It wasn't a bad throw by Maxwell either. Just a little bit offline, and that was just enough. That would have had to be. It would had to have been a perfect throw to get him. But it would have gotten him. A.J. Pollock, he is the protection for Goldschmidt in this game. Been hitting in front of him in the first 2 games of the series. .299 average, .350 on base. He's got 11 home runs and was a National League All-Star this year. 2-0. The D-backs have only 2 left-handed hitters in their lineup against Bumgarner, and one of those is the opposing pitcher Corbin. So he's got a long stretch of right-handed hitters to go through after Inciarte, the second-place hitter. On the outside corner, 2-1. Bumgarner pitched the very first game of the year for the Giants in this ballpark, and he pitched well. 7 innings, 1 run, 6 hits allowed back on April the 6th. About 3.5 months ago. Yep. Since the Giants had their opening night here. Pence coming in and toward the line. The inning is over. Goldschmidt with a double. He is stranded. It'll be Crawford, Maxwell, and Bell coming up. No score. Last night got his first hit in 2 years. Hanging curveball, and he slashed it down the right field line. And that was the start of a 4-run rally for the Giants. Peavy pitched exceedingly well, although as the game went along, the D-backs touched him up for runs in 3 consecutive innings. But I think his final numbers are deceiving. He pitched much better than those numbers would tell you.
Absolutely.
His first win of the year. Brandon Crawford takes a called strike from Patrick Corbin. Second inning, no score in the game. One thing about Peavy is that you know that he's here because he loves it. And he's paying a price to be here because he's had a lot of physical problems, a lot of rehab, a lot of hard work to get himself fit to throw. And once he finally got that all put back together, he's had 3 very strong starts in a row coming back from the disabled list as he and Pence chalk it over.
Plus, he's another veteran guy that's seen just about everything.
And he's been a great presence in the Giants clubhouse, not just with other, say, young pitchers, but with some of the young position players in this club. He's been a mentor to some of them.
Yeah, he doesn't miss much on the field, whether it's from a guy on the mound or from a guy out in the outfield or in the infield.
That's all for Brandon Crawford.
Here's our Geico quote. Bruce Bochy on Jake Peavy diving back to first base after a single last night. He says, well, you usually don't see me laugh during a game, but that was entertaining. Seeing an old man trying to scratch back like that, he looked like a cat. He said his one ankle forces him to go to the other ankle to try to stop. And you can see that's what he did. He was going to stop with the bad ankle, and then he couldn't do it. So here it is. Watch here. And then as Boch said, he looked like a cat.
That ball is hit deep into right center by Maxwell. Still going. Goodbye. A home run for Justin Maxwell to the opposite field for the first run of the game.
Well, we've seen Maxwell do this before. He's got a lot of power. He's got long arms. He's strong, and he can hit it out, especially in this park, anywhere. And here he chooses to go to right field. Wise move, and it's gone.
So Maxwell, who's been struggling against left-handers as well, but that's a nice approach for him. Now maybe Corbin wouldn't have been happy with the pitch that he made, but Maxwell, he didn't try to yank it, he didn't try to muscle it. Now Belt, he does the same thing, opposite field, still going. It is off the wall, just over the reach of Inciarte, and that's a long double for Brandon Belt. It's no cheapie when you hit it out toward that 413 marker. That's where the park gets really big.
Now watch Belt. This is what he does very well. He can backspin balls, and he needed this after his game yesterday where he went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Here in his first at bat, he goes to the opposite field and he picks up a double, almost caught by Inciarte. And if you ask Inciarte, I bet he'd tell you he should have had it.
That's the 25th double for Brandon Belt this year, and only Todd Frazier of the Reds has hit more doubles than Brandon Belt in the National League. Now Bumgarner, Giants ahead 1-0. Bumgarner, he's been on a hot streak with the bat. The curveball for a strike.
I don't know many pitchers in the National League that the manager wouldn't ask them to bunt right here.
Get the guy to third, maybe he'll score on a wild pitch, maybe something positive could happen. Well, no, Bochy wants Bum to try and knock him in.
Yeah.
The high hard one up out of the strike zone. Bumgarner's overall average for the year is 256, but his last 4, 5, 6 starts he's hitting over 400.
Yep.
Justin Maxwell's home run putting the Giants ahead. Check swing. Did he go? No. Ed Hickox made the ruling. You saw there that immediately Nauert, the plate umpire, asked Hickox for a little help. One and 2 to Bumgarner. Belt away from second. And the fastball with some cut to it coming off the inside at 92 miles an hour.
Now the one thing that happens with Bumgarner when he's in the lineup, That pitcher out on the mound, he cannot relax. He's got to go after Bumgarner like he's hitting cleanup.
Ooh, struck him out looking. Bumgarner might have thought it was too low, but it looked like he kind of bit his tongue there. Didn't say anything to the plate umpire.
Because he'd like to have that pitch when he's out on the mound, but as good a hitter as he is, he does feel like he can have a little bit of an opinion at the plate.
Bumgarner, although Bumgarner, you guys were kind of kidding around with him just as the season was about to begin at the play ball luncheon, saying that his wife actually is a better curveball hitter than he is.
He admitted that.
And that was the big laugh where he said, all right, well, that's true.
Yeah. No arguing.
Pagan, and that's foul, picked up by Roberto Kelly. Kelly, who was at one time an outstanding defensive center fielder at Yankee Stadium. The New York Yankees, a team with which he originally came up.
Oh, he was a good player.
He had power, he had speed. It was not unusual for him to steal 40, 50 bases in a season. Then they came up with a guy named Bernie Williams. One ball, one strike.
Not bad either.
Bernie was there for a long, long time, the incumbent in center field at Yankee Stadium. And Roberto Kelly eventually got traded to bring in some talent, but to bring in a guy by the name of Paul O'Neill to Yankee Stadium, who had a great run in New York. 1-1 to Pagan, who had his own run in New York. Check swing and a ball in the dirt, blocked by Castillo.
You know, when guys get traded to the Yankees or when they get traded to a New York team, you always kind of wonder how is that personality going to fit there. And Paul O'Neill was one of those guys where you'd think, well, it's not going to work for him in New York City. He's got a temper. He's a really good player. But how is that going to work there? And it worked out perfectly for him. They loved him.
And he became a leader in that clubhouse, as well as on the field. He had his best years as a Yankee. Out of play on that soft one, 81 miles an hour from Corbin. 2-2 the count to Pagan. Panic on deck. The Giants have a run home with Belt at second, and Pagan trying to knock him in. The outfield is backed up pretty well, although they, just as I say that, they waved in Tomas a few steps in right field. Justin Maxwell hitting the first pitch that he saw for an opposite field homer.
Somebody went flying.
I think that was Hunter Pence.
It was.
All the guys who have been on the DL this year headed for cover.
Stay in the game, Hunter. And by the way, Dave Greshner, you're supposed to throw your body in front of star right fielder. And I think he just turned to Hunter and said, hey, you're on your own. Hunter going, yeah, I know.
Tell me about it. Well, Pagan grounds out to end the inning. The Giants do get a run. Belt stranded at second. Justin Maxwell. Bye-bye, baby, as Russ Hodges used to say. 1-0 Giants. Bumgarner back to the mound. Giants as we go to the last of the second inning. And it will be Wellington Castillo to lead off against Madison Bumgarner. And it's a called strike. Castillo has had 11 career at-bats against Bumgarner with 4 hits and a home run. 233 overall average. He's been with the Cubs, the Mariners, and now the D-backs. Had a lot of different addresses this season. Castillo, I thought not so many years ago, what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, he might be the Cubs catcher of the future for years to come.
He was the guy. He was the guy.
0-2. The curve in the dirt. They started the year. This was a question about the D-backs. Tuffy Gozawish had always been a fine backup catcher, excellent receiver, worked the staff well. But they were going to have him as the regular everyday catcher.
Right.
And that's the way they opened the season. And then he got hurt. And they didn't have a whole lot in terms of catching depth. They were happy to go after Castillo when they saw that he was available. 2-2 the count.
Well, Gozawish had a good series in San Francisco. Giants have had a hard time beating the D-backs in San Francisco, and he did a lot of different things to help them win those games,
including some big hits. Yep. 2-2 the count to Castillo. And it's a full count now. Tomas is on deck. Aaron Hill due up third. Dodgers lead Washington 5-0. And the National League All-Star Game starter, Zach Greinke, is the Dodger pitcher in that game. 8 shutout innings.
Yep.
He's been Hershiser-like.
He has.
So what is that? 43 in the third consecutive scoreless innings, because the home run he gave up to Mike Trout in the All-Star Game does not count.
Does not count.
I don't care what they said about the All-Star Game.
Doesn't count.
And that's a curve outside. It's a walk to Castillo. Well, we have some Hunter Pence signs of a different sort. See that little kid behind that sign?
Yeah. We kept thinking that it was the dad that was challenging Hunter Pence, but it's the little guy. And it got Hunter's attention. And Hunter went, yeah. Gave him a little, yeah, okay. We'll do it after the game. And then he smiled. He's awesome. He doesn't miss much.
Well, that's what's fun about Hunter. He loves the game. He plays hard every moment of every game. And he loves the interaction with the fans.
He does.
Tomas takes a strike. Yasmani Tomas. Pence is playing in deep right field for Tomas, who has not been hitting a lot of home runs, but he has been hitting the ball with authority from foul line to foul line. Is he really going to arm wrestle me, Mom?
Well, the young guy figures if he holds his glove up long enough, although Giants don't want the ball here to end up in that glove, maybe the next half inning.
Right up the middle, base hit. Castillo will go to second and stop. So 2 men on with nobody out, and Aaron Hill will come up. Friday, the Giants will be home for an interleague interlude. It will be the Bay Bridge weekend series, the Giants and the Athletics at AT&T Park. Saturday, the 25th, the first 30,000 fans attending receive a Hunter Pence gnome, courtesy of Blue Shield of California. And on Sunday afternoon, the 26th, that'll be Country Day. The first 20,000 fans receive Giants cowboy hats, presented by the Saddle Rack on Country Day. Get your tickets at sfgiants.com/tickets. Bumgarner's in a jam here. 2 men on, nobody out. A curveball for a strike to Aaron Hill. Castillo coaxed a walk out of Bumgarner to get this started. Bumgarner does not walk many to lead off an inning or otherwise. And that shoots by Duffy. And being held at third is Castillo. Initially, Andy Green, the third base coach, was waving him, and then when he saw the ball was picked up cleanly by Maxwell, he gave him the stop sign.
Well, Hill is a guy over the years that really has just haunted the Giants, and that's a ball hit past Duffy. I'm sure that Duffy would like to have another crack at that one, but it was hit hard. And all along, it looked like Castillo was going to be sent, but at the last second, he put on the brakes.
Last night, Duffy got a hot shot over there, and he went up with the glove, and the ball stayed down under the glove. Today, on a much shorter hop, he kept the glove down. The ball hopped over the glove. That's ball one to Chris Owings. Bases loaded, nobody out. But Owings, who has suffered against Bumgarner in the past, only 2 hits and 17 career at bats against him. And the pitcher Corbin is on deck. Giants will give away a run here to get the double play. They much rather a 1-run inning than a big inning. There's Maxwell, medium left center, and Wellington Castillo, the catcher, bluffing. Belt with the cutoff.
Well, this is a park where the ball's going to carry, but Owens just didn't hit this one good enough for it to carry. And with catcher speed at third, the Diamondbacks not taking a chance. I'm sure they would have liked to take a chance because the pitcher's coming up next, but a wise move.
Maxwell's got a pretty good arm.
Yes, he does.
So here's Patrick Corbin to try and help his own cause. Middle infield double play depth. And it's 0-1. Corbin so far this year has gone 0 for 2 with 1 strikeout. And in his career, a 119 batting average. One ball, 1 strike. The Dodgers won that game 5-0 final, and that was Zach Greinke beating Max Scherzer. Greinke 8 shutout innings, 11 strikeouts. Giants ahead here 1-0, but the bases are loaded with 1 out. And the big sweeping curveball, strike 2.
It's always been a good pitch for Bumgarner, and when he's had those phenomenal games where you see a lot of strikeouts, one of the reasons for those big days are because of that pitch.
Bumgarner has not had a strikeout so far in this game. Blocked by Buster Posey. I suppose part of the plan on that one was for that ball to end up in the dirt, but Corbin did not seem tempted. Posey talking it over with Paul Nowert, the plate umpire. There are the runners. Castillo, Tomas, and Hill from third back to first. 2-2 the count to Corbin. Back to the screen. He tried to put him away with a fastball up out of the strike zone, but Corbin went out after it. 38% of the time for a strikeout, he's gotten him with a fastball, and almost as much of the time with the curveball. And this could be 2. Crawford to second, 1. Panic to first. Double play. The D-backs may go for the replay review on this one. Did it look like Crawford had just a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove?
Well, it looked like he had to play back a little bit because of the hop, and this is going to be a safe call after they look at the replay because Corbin did beat it up.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
But part of the problem with playing on a really hard infield is you just don't know if you're going to get a true hop, and Crawford had to maybe just come back a little bit to get a better hop. This replay review is presented by Xfinity.
Well, this should not take too long for the umpires in New York at the command center to make the decision to overturn the call. You heard the crowd reacting to seeing that play on the big screen at center field, because it clearly shows, just as you saw.
Well, look, the Giants saw the replay. Bumgarner went back out on the mound, so they know what the deal is. So this is not going to surprise them. And now Bumgarner will think about Ahmed.
So that gets a run home. It's a 4-7 and an RBI for Corbin. Castillo scores. Plus Bumgarner has another out to go. It is 1-1.
It's a perfect example of why the system works. You got to get the call right, and they did.
Ed Hickox, the first base umpire, who initially made the out call. So here is Ahmed. Off the inside, 1 ball and no strikes. And I think when you talk about Crawford, there's been nobody better at turning double plays than the combination of Crawford and Panik, either Crawford to Panik or vice versa. They have been money. That ball would not hit that hard either.
Well, you got a couple other things too, John. You got Hill at first, who's not being held on, so he's going to get down on top of Panik quickly. You see Crawford give ground to get a better hop, and then Panik has got to get it and get out of there. And plus you throw in the factor that Corbin runs pretty well, and it turns out to be a run for the Diamondbacks.
And that's huge. All of those factors are huge, because that was inning over 1-0 Giants otherwise. That curveball kind of laid out there, and Ahmed merely fouled it back to the screen. Ahmed popped up to second his first time. So Corbin got the RBI. There's little bits of all of those factors ending up that way. His 8th career run batted in over 100 official at bats. 2-2. Bumgarner, this is only the second inning. He's now thrown 42 pitches in this game.
Obviously a lot more pitches than he'd like to have thrown. Mike Krukow likes to say 15 an inning, so he's 12 over that.
2 on, 2 out. Pence, plenty of room in right center. Ahmed retired, but it's tied up. Panik, Duffy, and Buster Posey coming up.
is brought to you by Mendocino Redwood, available exclusively at the Home Depot.
It's 1-1 as we head to the third inning from Chase Field in Arizona. The San Francisco Giant race is upcoming on Sunday, August 23rd. Register now before the race sells out for the 5th time in a row at giantrace.com. So sooner the better. Race will include a half marathon. There's also a 10K, a 5K, a kids race, and a family relay. All participants will receive a 100-pence runner bobblehead, a t-shirt, and a medal modeled after the 2014 World Series championship ring. Oh. We better hurry up and get in this ourselves.
Absolutely.
Register now at giantrace.com. A lot of Giants fans, as always, here in the desert to see the Giants take on the D-backs. And we know the same phenomenon will occur the next 3 days when the Giants hit San Diego. So, and in San Diego, we'll see him at the ballpark, and we'll see him out and about in the gas lamp district and all the restaurants.
In the elevators?
In the elevators, by the ice machine. 1-1 the score, third inning. It'll be Joe Panik to lead off. And with the play-by-play, here is Dwayne Kuiper.
All right, John. Panik, Duffy, Posey against Patrick Corbin. Panik bounced out to Owings in the first inning. Giants with a home run from Justin Maxwell. There's a breaking ball for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. A run on 3 hits for both teams. Both teams have stranded 3. Bit of a hanger, and it's high. The Giants have won 5 straight. The Diamondbacks have lost 5 straight.
That's a worst case scenario for the D-backs.
Yeah. And it's 3-1. D-backs have Miami coming in, and then after that Milwaukee. This is a long homestand for them.
And it has not started well. Corbin, they're looking to him to beat the stopper.
Panik takes the walk, and the Giants will take that. Duffy's coming up, who was hit by a pitch in the first inning.
I mean, the D-backs, they were talking about moves they needed to make to fortify themselves for the stretch run. They were tied with the Giants going into that final weekend series before the All-Star break. Tied for second place with the Giants. 5 days later, they're 5 games behind the Giants.
Well, they ran into a very tough New York Mets team. Giants knew that because the Mets played the Giants tough at AT&T Park. Here's Duffy. Duffy pops it out of play. The Diamondbacks had a 5-game road trip, and as John mentioned, the record was at that point over 500. They won the first 2 games of that trip in Texas, and then they lost 4-2, 4-2, and 5-3. Syndergaard, Harvey, and Neese. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Those were your winning pitchers. 0-1 to Duffy, and a toss to first. Panik is back.
Jonathan Neese is doing it again today against the red-hot St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, he pitched great against the Giants.
He 7 2/3 shutout innings in St. Louis. That game is in the last of the 9th inning. Still scoreless at Busch Stadium.
Duffy waiting on Corbin. Duffy, a fly ball to right, hit well. Back. It is caught at the wall. Tomas went all the way back, and he put it away. It can get pretty lively out there, and Tomas got there in plenty of time. D-backs are trying to find a spot for this guy to play. He seems to handle right field okay.
I thought at one point, the way he was going back on it, maybe that arm wrestling kid who had the glove was going to get one.
He laid that glove out there like, I'm going to just leave it here and something's going to fall in it.
Just a little bit short.
Buster Posey singled in the first inning. Hit a ball right past Owings at second base. And he skies it into left center field. A long run for Pollock. Can Pollock get there? He does. And hustling back to first is Panic. Here's our Solar Company electrifying play of the week. Hunter Pence hit the 2-run home run to tie the game in the top of the 7th. And he did that on Friday night, our electrifying play of the week. So 2 balls hit extremely well, both caught, and here's Hunter Pence.
Patrick Corbin is not fooling anybody right now, and that ball by Buster, that's just some bad luck, because that's the deepest part of the ballpark.
Yes, indeed. Pence will take a belt-high strike. Pence hit a ball sharply up the middle that was cut off by Ahmed to end the first inning. How to play the life of a catcher, where you really don't have a chance to think about either your bad luck or your good luck. You got to put the gear on and start figuring out how you're going to have Bumgarner pitch to Inciarte, Goldschmidt, and Pollock. But I think catchers will tell you that if they don't catch, they really miss that part of the game. High and foul into the upper deck. It remains at 0-2. Maybe the game is boring if they don't have all of those things that they have to do other than just go up there and hit.
Well, Buster, he truly just seems to love that aspect of it. In spite of all the extra work and the wear and tear on the body.
In the dirt, and it gets away from Castillo. And Panic will move into scoring position. Wild pitch.
I think a lot of fans figure, well, why catch, right? Put him at first base. He's too valuable as a hitter. But to have a catcher to be as good as Buster is at that aspect of the game, working the pitching staff and be a key hitter, not many teams have that kind of a player.
Well, his value to the Giants is at that spot. Pence fouls another one out of play. And there will be a day when he's going to play first. And most likely it'll be a time when Buster Posey decides he wants to play first.
Joe Mauer, they used to have the same discussion in Minneapolis with Mauer, a top hitter and an excellent catcher. Finally, the concussion. The doctors told you cannot catch anymore. You cannot risk another concussion.
The 1-2 to Pence. Pence pops another one out of play. Now this gentleman made a nice catch. And he may have caught it in his hat.
That's a triple. If you do it during a game.
Well, nice play. It's 1-2 to Pence. Way up high, 2-2. Panic opened the inning up with a walk. Duffy, a ball caught at the wall. Posey, a ball caught close to the wall at 413 in left center. And now Pence in a battle with Patrick Corbin, who's about to throw pitch number 57 of the afternoon.
So he's been very busy these first 3 innings.
Look out. 2-2. See the guard on the left wrist. Remember, he was hitting spring training first week of March. Broke his wrist. 2-2, or make it 3-2. And a bullet down the left field line, and the Giants are going to take the lead. Nice play by Inciarte. Pence going for 2, and he's going to make it. And it's 2-1 Giants. Boy, a long battle finally won by Hunter Pence. And another RBI for Pence. He's got 24 on the season. And he hung him a breaking ball. And Hunter Pence was all over it. As Mike Harkey, the pitching coach, is coming out.
Just a great at bat by Hunter Pence. He fouled off several tough pitches. Corbin kind of knocked him off the plate just before that last pitch. But Hunter stood his ground, and I think Corbin may want to rethink that whole approach. He had first base empty. Now you have Crawford, who's been a great RBI man for the Giants, and he's hit left-hander as well. But Hunter Pence has worn him out over all the years that they've faced each other.
He has. Plus, the more pitches that Hunter Pence saw, the better odds are he was going to get something to hit. So here's Crawford. Crawford chases the first pitch, and it's 0-1. He struck out to open up the second inning. I don't know, John. I like that here, but I don't know.
Yeah, that looks terrible.
0-1 to Crawford.
I mean, it does look frightening, doesn't it? If somebody walked into the booth with all those right now, we would both scream. And then we'd say, give us a couple spoons, will you?
Yeah, well, we both say, is there anybody in here that can do play-by-play? Here's the 1-1 to Crawford, and it's outside, 2 balls and a strike.
Now for our first announcerless inning.
And here's Brett Alexander, who's in the booth next to us, our director of travel, who is going to do the 4th. 2 balls and a strike to Crawford. And a strike. Pretty good pitch from Corbin. There's Brett on the right on the phone. He has no idea how close he has become to actually doing some TV. Right now, trying to get our plane ready, and then if you pull back, you can see where we're at. 2-2. Got him, and that'll end the inning. A high fastball. Giants come back and take the lead. The walk in the double. It's 2-1 San Francisco.
1960, 55 years ago, Juan Marichal made his major league debut and pitched a one-hit shutout against the Phillies. In his major league debut, the pinch hitter Clay Dalrymple broke up his no-hitter with 2 down in the top of the 8th inning. That was the first and only hit allowed by the future Hall of Famer Juan Marichal, a day to remember in the long storied history of the Giants. He ended up with 1 walk and 12 strikeouts and just a 1 hit allowed in his debut.
I can imagine some people thinking, well, maybe they should have called him up a little earlier than July 19th. There's a pitch down low. This is Inciarte. Who does that in their debut, for crying out loud?
Not many. Just somebody that you immediately said, this guy, man, he's going to be great.
For a long time. On the ground to Belt. Belt with a nice play going to his right. And Inciarte is going to be retired. Sometimes you just have to kind of guess where that ball is going to go. And Belt with those quick hands. You get a little bit of an angle when you feel it off to the side. And you do have the benefit of a pretty long glove. But rarely do you see Brandon Belt go into a slump defensively. He's good all the time. Here's Goldschmidt.
Well, when you have a really good one over there, we saw it for all those years with J.T. Snow. Will Clark was outstanding with the glove. Yeah. And here in Arizona, it's this guy, Goldschmidt. But he makes all the other infielders better.
He does. Goldschmidt fouls this one at the plate. Goldschmidt doubled, hit a ball to the left of Maxwell. Made a good effort to go from first to second to stretch it into a double. Two balls and 1 strike. On deck is A.J. Pollock. This is game 3 of this trip and the final game in this series. Giants will be back here in September. Swing. You're going to miss 2-2. I was looking at the schedule, John, and really things jump up quickly. You kind of get into the season and you remember that later on you're going to have a 3-day road trip coming up. It's the next trip, or a 3-city road trip, I beg your pardon.
I was going to say, 3 days, that's not bad.
Which really would be pretty enjoyable. Not that the towns that the Giants are going to are awful. Texas, hot. Atlanta, hot. Chicago, hot. And 3 pretty good teams. Payoff pitch coming up to Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt fouls it out of play.
Truly the hottest time of the year in Arlington, Texas is when the Giants are going to be there.
My goodness.
And there's no dome there. They don't close the roof and pump the air conditioning in there. It's 108. It's 108 and usually humid.
They actually like to pump in some heat to make it even hotter. Out of play.
I remember I used to do games there back in the late 70s, 78, 79. And all summer long, it'd be, at 7:30 at night, they'd announce temperature game time 105. And they had a big sign out in the parking lot that had the temperature posted when you leave the ballpark about 11 p.m. It'd say 97.
Yeah. Goldschmidt with a base hit. You could tell that Bumgarner was trying to throw him everything he could. And Goldschmidt was on every one of them. And he is now 2 for 2. You see Dave Fleming, he'll be in here in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. John will head over to the KNBR side. So here's Pollock. Pollock is 0 for 1. He had a fly ball to right field. And then if you want to talk about hot weather in Atlanta, that's about the hottest time of the year.
It could be even worse in Atlanta because the humidity tends to get really up there. 97 degrees with 90% humidity.
Yep. And then it's always chilly in Chicago in August.
Chicago will be a relief probably.
It probably will be. High and away to Pollock. And looking at the schedule, the games in Chicago, a night game on Thursday and then a day game Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. One ball, no strikes. Pollock takes wide, 2-0. On deck, Yasmani Tomas. It's a 2-1 lead for the Giants. Belt holding on Goldschmidt, who's a guy that you have to keep an eye on. He's not afraid to steal a bag or two. He's got 16 on the year. This is driven to right. Pence back. Pence now in front of the wall on the track. He makes the catch. So pretty nice at bat for A.J. Pollock, but he's retired, and here's Tomas. So here's, no, I believe I said Tomas is coming up. It's Wellington Castillo. Castillo drew a walk and eventually scored in the second. We talked about that trip, John, a 3-city trip. And then they have one more 3-city trip after that, and that's in September. But it's all against the teams in the West, L.A., Colorado, and Arizona. One ball, no strikes. Breaking ball down low, so it's 2-0. Bumgarner has gone 2-0 to the last two hitters. Game one of a 3-game series will start tomorrow night in San Diego. And that'll be 2 night games and a day game. Strike to Castillo. Two runs, 4 hits for the Giants, a run on 4 hits for Arizona. Bumgarner about to throw pitch number 60. Hit the outside corner, 2-2.
You know, part of that I'm thinking is that they've got a lot of tough right-handed hitters in the lineup. This lineup is kind of a meat grinder for a left-hander, especially in this ballpark. That's the other part of it. Because that ball by Pollock, that was just I mean, he hit it hard, but he had no loft on it, and it carried all the way to the warning track out there.
Absolutely. Tapped slowly to third, but foul. And the other thing, too, with Bumgarner is you wouldn't know Bumgarner is a strikeout pitcher, but he gets his strikeouts, and he doesn't have one today.
He has averaged just over a strikeout per inning for the season.
You can call him a strikeout pitcher.
And not a one, that's right. So maybe that's an indication maybe his stuff isn't the same as we're used to seeing either.
That, or these Diamondbacks hitters have decided to take a little bit out of their swing. So it's 2-2 to Castillo, who isn't afraid to swing hard all the time. And now it's 3-2.
Well, they're laying off that curveball. He's not getting swings and misses on that. He's not getting swings at all.
There's Tomas. Bumgarner 9-5 on the season, 1-1 against Arizona. The pitch got him, and this time he does get Castillo to swing at the curveball, and it's his first curveball or his first strikeout of the game. Dave Fleming's coming in. Fourth inning. Dave Fleming has joined us here in the TV booth, and we all know that the Giants really got out to a good start on the road this year and then struggled a little bit, but a couple of really good games here in Arizona.
One bad road trip. It was one trip that kind of got them off kilter on the road, but I think they're equipped to be a really good road team. We're seeing again today the at-bats are just so good.
Maxwell hit a home run in his last at bat. And remember, the road trip Dave's talking about is the last trip where the Giants started out in Miami and went to Washington, and hardly any of us recovered. And man, maybe it was that so much fun off day we had on the beach. High and foul and out of play. This was Maxwell's home run. Opposite field. Let that ball get deep into him, and it's his 7th of the year.
This is a good part for him.
Yeah, he can hit balls well the other way. Where he jumps on a fastball and fouls it straight back.
Well, isn't it amazing, the Giants, after these 2 games, the offensive numbers have even bumped up with all the hits they've had. I mean, they play at AT&T Park, which is the best pitchers park, the worst hitters park in the league. And yet they lead the National League in batting average. They lead the National League in on-base average. They lead the league in hits. They're 3rd in runs scored as an offense.
And it's not just because of this park or Denver.
No.
I mean, they've done it all year. Got him. 5 strikeouts for Corbin. Well, there's a graphic, Dave, to support what you're talking about.
And I think when you adjust for the home games and the home ballpark, you can make a strong argument. Maybe you don't even have to adjust. They're the best offensive team in the National League right now. And I know, Giants fans get frustrated because they are a streaky team, and you go a week where they're not swinging the bats. But it's a good hitting team.
Belt doubled in the 2nd inning. Giants are waiting for Belt to get hot. Now he's behind 0-2.
Well, the kind of swing he had his first time up is the kind of swing he has when he does get hot.
that opposite field stroke. Nope, outside. Corbin wanted it. 1-2.
And with all that backspin, so not just a little fly ball to left, but a ball hit hard to left center field.
Belt takes a breaking ball. 2-2. So Bumgarner's on deck.
One thing I like about Brandon Belt, he has not had a good offensive series with all the other hitting that the Giants have done. His defense has been excellent.
Well, we were talking about that before you came over here. His defense doesn't go in a slump. Belt breaks his bat. That's the most splinters I've ever seen on the field.
There should be another word. Okay, you break your bat, that's fine. That's something different.
This is called getting blown up. Blown up.
That's about 8 different splinters going in opposite directions.
Look at Bumgarner's picking up splinters.
Yeah, here's another one.
Hey, here, put this one in your pocket.
Wait a minute. Here's another one.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get a couple of breaking balls low and away, and then that guy that can throw 94 comes back in on your hands. Bumgarner on the ground to short. Ahmed side retired. So a nice inning for Corbin. Bumgarner coming back out. Tomas to lead things off.
Is brought to you by Pixels, in theaters July 24th.
Dave Fleming, Dwayne Kuiper back here in Phoenix. Come out to the ballpark early on Tuesday, July 28th, so that's coming up in about a week. Giants annual Family Safety Festival. It'll take place in Lefty O'Doul Plaza. Interactive displays and booths. It's an important day. Representatives from our public safety organizations, that includes CHP, FBI, SFPD, the fire department, and more. July 28th in Lefty O'Doul Plaza. And it is good fun for the family. And it's important stuff. That would be a great family for the safety festival.
How did Mom get hung with hanging on to the stuffed bear or whatever it is?
Well, that's why she's got the big cold beverage.
Yeah, well, that's what moms do. They
balance it all out.
Yeah, they don't always get to do the fun stuff. Here's Yasmani Tomas to lead things off. Big breaking ball for a strike.
I'll tell you how it happens. The kid says, Mom, I cannot go to the game without my bear. I have to bring my bear. I'm going to throw a fit if I don't bring my bear. They sit down on the seat. Here, take my bear.
Yeah.
I don't want it anymore.
You know, can you hand me my oversized drink that I can't lift?
It's the 2-pound blue Drink.
Yeah, it's that blue that child won't get off of her lips until Wednesday. Oh, he's got the straw.
You don't see any grown-ups drinking a drink that color.
Plus, look at the little guy. He has got a death grip on that. Mom's got the brew going.
Yeah.
High and foul down the right field line and out of play. But it's a good-looking group.
They are decked out.
Either the Dugout Store or sfgiants.com. Yeah.
Uh-huh. They didn't even need their phone to figure out they were on.
That is foul down the right field line. Oh. Yep.
Don't drop it.
Yep. Hold up the sun. The little guy's going, I heart my drink.
Forget waving.
Oh, yeah, Teddy's up. A ball and 2 strikes to Yasmani Tomas. Got him. All right, here's our Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag CSNBA Data Strong Fan. And you might just see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Brandon, who tweets, ready for another Giants win. You bet he's ready.
We have a lot of young, newborn Giants fans named Brandon. It's a popular name for Giants fans these days.
Well, you got 2 of them in the lineup every day.
Yeah. Not a coincidence.
Hill singled in the 2nd inning. Look, Dad looks unhappy. Trust me, he's not.
He is not.
He'll be unhappy when that young daughter turns about 14. On the ground to Duffy to his left. 2 outs. And then you're only unhappy for about 5 years. That's it.
Are you giving me like a heads up?
Yeah, you got your hands full, pal.
Mine are still, mine are a lot older than that, but they still would fall asleep on Dad.
Oh, absolutely. Now, when your kids grow up, those are the moments that you really remember, and you just kind of wish maybe for one day you could get them back on your lap. Trust me, he's happy. Owings takes the pitch wide, 1 ball and 1 strike.
One thing about this game, and I'm not saying he's been wrong, but I think Bumgarner with that cutter is used to getting a lot of calls on that outside corner to a right-handed hitter. And he's been stingy on that corner. There's another example.
Yeah, he just told him too. He said, look, that's a strike. This guy, great fan. No mirrors in his house.
Maybe the lights were out.
Certainly not one by the door. And a strike. It's 2-2. That's the Pence on the fence, right?
Yeah, and I have to say, it was very popular. To me, it's a little creepy. It's like hunters staring at you. It's him.
Crawford gets rid of it quickly. Got him. And I'm sure that they'll take a look at it. Bumgarner's not going to leave yet. He's going to look into their dugout. He's going to visit with Paul Nauert.
It gives him a chance to talk about the strike zone for a minute.
Yeah. Chip Hale watching. It's all part of the game now. They might look at it, and then again they might not.
I'm surprised.
Right, so we're going to take a break. It's an OUT. 5th inning's coming up.
Section 112 rows.
Giants 2, Diamondbacks 1 as we head to the 5th. And the Giants will have Angel Pagan to lead things off. And Pagan bounces one. Ahmed behind the bag. Well, all of a sudden, the outs are coming quickly.
Which for the Giants is not great news in that. I'm sure you guys talked about it before I came over to the TV side, but Corbin is definitely on a pitch limit coming back from the arm surgery. The Diamondbacks bullpen has been taxed, has been beat up in these first 2 games. Giants have a chance to get into that bullpen early today.
And this will be pitch number 77 is Panic takes wide.
I'm not saying you just go up there taking pitches just solely for the purpose of taking them, but I think these long at bats have been a positive thing.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Panic, and it's a strike. And here to tell you about it is Dave Fleming. I just kind of rolled into your innings. So.
Just keep going.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, after you.
No. Low. I'm done. I'm ready for color, baby.
That's your pitch limit, huh?
That's it. Call a hit here, will you?
All right, 2-1. Make me look good, Joe. Way outside. How about a walk?
Walk would be fine. I mean, that's what happened in the 3rd, and he eventually scored.
Led to the go-ahead run. That 3rd inning, man, Panic drew that walk, and Duffy, who's on deck, and then Posey. I went into the home run call.
Yeah,
I mean, they crushed 2 balls against Corbin. Panic, a pop-up. Hill into foul ground. 2 down. Not this time for Panic. He didn't look real happy with that swing in a 3-1 count. This is now, that's what we were talking about, 81 pitches. This is his season high, and I think there's a real good chance that no matter what happens here, that this could be it for him. Could be.
He leads off.
Yeah, it would be the perfect spot to use a pinch hitter. Here's Duffy taking a ball. Change up in the dirt. Duffy hit his ball to the wall in right field. And then Posey came up and hit it really to the deepest part of the yard, left center field. 2-1 Giants. Duffy had a good cut there, fouled it back. And as we're talking about it, Randall Delgado is now getting up in the bullpen. He is one of the long relievers. Josh Colementor is the other. Colementor threw 43 pitches yesterday. Delgado threw 37 pitches on Friday. That one is hit down the right field line. Not as hard hit, and foul. Sort of just taking it for granted. Matt Duffy, with all the hitting that everybody's done, 3 hits in each of the first 2 games of this series. One, 2, very high. Giants would love for Duffy to get on base and give Posey a crack with somebody out there. That one is hit to right field. He's going to try again. This one not quite enough. Caught by Tomas. That's a 1-2-3 inning. Middle of the 5th. Pitcher spot coming up. Bumgarner back to the mound.
Friday, August 7th, Sunday night.
Is brought to you by USAA, proudly serving the needs of the military community for over 90 years.
It is Giants 2, D-backs 1, bottom of the 5th from Chase Field in Arizona. Bumgarner back to work here after I think his strongest inning on the mound, and indeed, as we were speculating, it will be a pinch hitter. It's not Roger Dorn, it's Danny Dorn for the D-backs. How many times do you think he hears that tired line?
Are you kidding? Well, I'll say this. Listen to these numbers. 48 games in Reno. 434.
Wow. Left-handed hitter against Bumgarner.
15 doubles, 7 home runs, 32 runs batted in. But this is not a debut.
No, he's been in the big leagues before. Skies that one, and I mean way up there. Posey coming back beyond his reach, though. Buster couldn't find it at first.
I thought it hit the roof.
It really almost felt like it was going to. I kind of felt bad for him. We were here obviously several hours before the game this morning. He just got in. I think they said he landed at about 8 a.m. Just activated today, called up. And his first 2 hours here, he's up doing a kids clinic up on the concourse. 1-1 pitch, check swing, foul.
Well, I walked into the Giants dugout. There was really not a lot of batting practice for either team, and he's taking ground balls at first, and That's almost like the most ridiculous thing you could ever see is anybody in a Diamondbacks uniform taking ground balls at first. But he's here not to play first. He's here to do this.
1-2. Stays alive. Well, one of the kids at this, I mean, they piped the sound from this thing all through the ballpark, and one of the kids asked him, "What position do you play?" And he said, "Well, I'm a first baseman. Of course, that doesn't do me a lot of good here, so I'll play some outfield." That was his answer. Swings and misses. Good curve from Bumgarner. Posey's got a throw to complete the putout. 1 out, bases empty. And we get a chance to remind you the Brewers are coming to town July 27, 28, 29, couple of night games, then day baseball on the 29th, last game of the upcoming homestand. Giants Brewers 3-game series, tickets available at sfgiants.com. Right before the trade deadline. Could be some action.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of action this year.
Now the Brewers are in the middle of all kinds of rumors. Nick Ahmed takes a pitch in the dirt, ball 1.
We mentioned it yesterday, but 3 teams in contention for wild card in the National League Central. 2 teams in contention. Cardinals obviously a big lead, but the other 2 are the teams that are going to possibly unload.
Milwaukee and Cincinnati. That ball hit foul in the middle of a lot of the chatter. Phillies are another team. Do you see today? Phillies ended up winning. Jeff Francoeur hit a walk-off home run to beat the Marlins, but Cole Hamels got lit up again. So that's 2 starts in a row. The Giants did it to him, and now the Marlins did it to him. With a lot of eyes on him. A pop-up. Panic. Falls off Belt. 2 down.
We're seeing more pitches now be effective on that inside part of the plate for Bumgarner.
He has really locked it in.
But I just got a text from one of our Giants employees, Mike Scardino, who just arrived in San Diego. Pouring.
They're in a rain delay.
Pouring in San Diego.
I saw, right as you were saying that, I got a text also. Here's a ball to Ender Inciarte, 1-0. 6 rain delays in the history of that ballpark. Rain delays, we're not talking about postponements or rainouts. Petco Park's been around for more than a decade. This is the 6th delay ever. Strike 1 called. Another curve from Bumgarner.
Well, I'll write this date down that you actually had more information on the weather than I did.
Only because somebody texted me. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Man, Marty Lurie told me this morning that you guys were on my case about that yesterday.
Well, John wasn't aware that you had mentioned that about people over 50.
It's just a little theory I have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wasn't dogging you.
As soon as you hit 50, you just obsessively check the weather. Just part of getting older.
John didn't dispute any of that, by the way.
Yeah, he kind of looked at me funny this morning, though.
Well, he had an umbrella.
Here in the desert. Actually rained here last night and the night before. See, now I'm paying attention to the weather.
Well, look, you could have an umbrella here for sun and the rain. But it is odd that it's raining at this time of the year in San Diego.
Very.
You expect it in Cincinnati or Pittsburgh, not in San Diego.
2-2. Another foul ball.
I'm okay for rain anywhere in California, given what all of us are going through with the drought. You go back to the Midwest and people just, they can't believe that there's a drought. I said, well, where we're at, there is, yes. Because they've had some horrific rain in the Midwest.
2-2. Inciarte kind of slaps one that is going to be caught. What a diving catch by Maxwell.
Unbelievable.
Great play. That robbed Inciarte of a hit.
Nice dive, nice stretch, the long lean body of Maxwell. Terrific play.
He's having a day.
Alex Pavlovich provides wire-to-wire and all kinds of reporting of the Giants during this 2015 season with breaking news, video, special features, and more only on CSNBayArea.com. Here's Alex. That's a live shot of Alex.
Working hard.
2-1 Giants. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change at Auto Service. For your oil change tune-up and brake experts. Here is Randall Delgado, who the Giants saw on Friday, and Delgado got the loss. So Delgado coming in out of the bullpen to replace Patrick Corbin.
He pitched a couple innings. He threw 37 pitches, and the Giants had some good at-bats against him. He walked this guy intentionally. Buster Posey taking a strike. Posey's 1 for 2, although that doesn't really tell the whole story. He singled his first time up. He absolutely clobbered one his second time up. That was caught. He smashes one. Foul. Wow. Clobbered, smashes, whatever.
Yeah, well, the one thing for sure is the people that ended up with that baseball did not think they were going to get a souvenir today.
No. Probably not a lot of gloves up there. Now it's 0-2. Delgado, he's got a good changeup. He uses it more against left-handed hitters. And he used it there and strikes out Buster.
Well, I think Buster guessed right on the ball he hit foul, and the only thing he's probably upset about is he just did not wait long enough to keep that ball fair.
Here's Pence, who doubled in a run in the third. Look who's up in the bullpen. That is a little weird. Bumgarner's only pitched 5 innings.
That may have something to do with the All-Star game.
Yeah. Here's the ball, top foul. Now Bumgarner, he's not. I mean, he's sitting there on the top rail at the dugout. It's not like he's in the training room. Not like he's saying he's not feeling right. And he's still got the arm wrapped.
But he might be done.
The Giants may have decided that they just were going to take it easy on him today.
I mean, if you remember all the reports before the season started about what the experts were saying about what was going to happen to Bumgarner this year because of all the work he did in postseason.
Yeah.
And a lot of them said he's just not going to have it this year.
Yeah, that was not a good call. That one was a good pitch to hit and a pretty good swing for a foul ball.
Well, plus for him, not that you need to add a little fuel to what he does, but probably did.
Bochy did say he was going to look for spots, not just early, but all year long, to take it easy on him. Ball 2. Close with the slider. And I think the point was not that he was really worried about Bumgarner, but he did work hard. Giants are hoping to be back in the playoffs. They're in position to get back to the playoffs, so they want him fresh at the end of the year too. That one just muscled to second. The muscle not real far.
Well, it really ran in on Hunter Pence, and he just got jammed.
2 down for Crawford.
So they are really in a rain delay, huh?
They are in a delay in San Diego, where we head after this game. R. I don't know what they used the other night when the lights were going out in Washington. I don't think they put an L.
Well, they put like a 0, and John decided that that 0 or an O was a D for delay.
I mean, the D looks different than what they put up. They can do a D, like SD. They have a D up there. Oh, okay, we'll go with John.
Yeah.
Crawford's been chasing up in this game. He struck out twice. See the D and the O right next to one another.
Well, just for you, I'll go to my app. Now I actually have to add a favorite to the cities to check the weather. I never thought I'd have to do that for San Diego.
I never look at the forecast for San Diego. Of course, I'm not 50. Crawford takes a strike. He just struck out all 3 times.
You just wait. By the time you turn 50, you'll have 9 apps for the weather.
2-1 Giants.
Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area is brought to you by Heffernan Insurance Brokers. Insurance and financial services for you and your business. Visit hefins.com and by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
2-1 Giants have the lead. Bottom of the 6th. Mad Bum and the Giants going for the sweep, and yet Mad Bum comes out of the game.
And it's Contos when it's time for a change. In Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and brake expert. So Contos, he will be the man to replace Bumgarner. Contos has been very good this year. You see his numbers. This will be appearance number 44. got a 1.65 earned run average. Look, everybody pitched on Friday, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to say that Cantos went 2/3 of an inning. He did allow a hit and a walk, but he did not allow any runs.
Well, it is interesting, isn't it, that 2 days, really 1 day plus after the Giants used a record number of pitchers in a game, the bullpen's totally fresh.
Yep.
Not easy for Cantos right away against the heart of the order. Goldschmidt takes ball 1.
And look, I don't have any idea what was going on with Bumgarner. Probably felt like he could go out there, but with the heart of the order coming up, Bruce Bochy may have thought now's a good time.
1-0 pitch, ball 2. And Giants fans are probably a little bit on edge about this, but I think there is no reason to be concerned. It's just Giants with the All-Star game. Bumgarner pitched in it. Unusual schedule. 93 pitches. Just take it easy on him.
I think that's a simple explanation.
Goldschmidt 2 for 2. And he hits that one way up there in the yard. Pence, 1 away.
I don't know if I should call that a pop-up or a fly ball. I mean, with Goldschmidt,
Yes.
anytime he hits the ball, especially to right field, he's got enough to knock it easily out of the park. That's our family, and we saw the little guy hold that sign that said he wanted to arm wrestle Hunter Pence. Well, he's arm wrestling some popcorn right now.
You got the eye black going. That one way inside from Cantos, almost hit A.J. Pollock. Cantos, to me, is one of the great stories of the year for the Giants. They have a lot of good ones between Heston and Duffy and Panic and others, but Cantos is right there. He's been awesome.
He's been fabulous.
Strike called on the outside. That's his 88-mile-an-hour fastball. Maybe the cutter from Cantos used to be fastball slider, and that was really it. Now cutter. He'll throw a changeup. And who knows, maybe he's working on a new pitch. Yeah. That one over Panic into right center field. A.J. Pollock, an all-star himself, with his first hit of the day, a 1-out single.
Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, this lineup is a lot like the Giants, where they will grind out at bats.
And now the Giants, they do have to pay attention to Pollock. He's got 19 steals on the year. He's the tying run. So for Cantos, who works from the windup with the bases empty, unlike a lot of relievers that work from the stretch, obviously with Pollock aboard, he's got to pay attention to that runner at first. Pollock started but stopped. There's a fastball for a strike. Almost looked like Castillo was going to take a pitch, because he's a very free swinger, and that was a fastball right there.
Well, what Cantos wants to do here is see if he can get Castillo to hit the ball on the ground, preferably right to Crawford. But it may be that Chip Hale is thinking that, well, I'm going to start Pollock. Pollock runs extremely well. He's got 19 steals.
That one is low for a ball. And that's the pitch that Cantos will often use to try to get a ground ball. 5th in the league in steals, A.J. Pollock. Diamondbacks run a lot. As a team, they have 81 steals. Giants, just for some context, have 39. That's part of the Diamondbacks game. The Giants just aren't a big base stealing team. Long hold for Cantos. trying to freeze Pollock. And now finally Castillo asks for time. That may have been Cantos' plan.
Well, I hate it as a hitter. I hated it as a base runner. So if that's the case, and that's how hitters and base runners feel, then it works.
Yeah. Giants do have the bullpen working behind Cantos. There goes Pollock. Foul ball. Pollock had a good jump there, but he'll have to go back.
You're right. He had that base stolen. It's a good jump. If you see a base runner not take a peek, then it's not a hit and run, and it's a straight steal. Even though that's the case, some guys that are just flat out stealing the bag are not comfortable unless they do take a peek. Joe Morgan used to tell us all the time that it slows you down in some cases by as much as a half a step. So he never did it.
A ball and 2 strikes. We'll see if Pollock tries it again. Cantos in the bullpen. They've taken over now, trying to protect this lead. He strikes out Castillo with a nasty slider. 2 down. And our partner Mike Krukow, I mean that's been Mike's point I think all season long with Cantos about the slider plays so much better now with the other pitches that he features. He doesn't use it as much, and so when he does use it, it's back to being a big time swing and miss pitch.
Yeah. There's Lopez.
Yeah. Runner at first, 2 down. Still a decent chance Pollock tries to get himself in scoring position. Tomas, foul ball. And 2-seamer from Cantos. Tomas had a hit in 2 at-bats against Bumgarner. Hitting .307. It's been funny because Yasmani Tomas, the whole scouting report on him was, well, he might not hit for a high average, but man, does he have power. He's going to hit a ton of home runs. It's been the opposite. He's hit for a high average without a ton of power. But he's still just getting adjusted to the big leagues.
Absolutely.
That one is chopped towards short. Crawford can wait. Crawford throws him out. The inning is over. John's coming back to the TV side. Ian Kite will check out their radar apps when we come back. Absolutely.
local Toyota dealer. It was a start for Corbin and a start for Bumgarner. Both have departed. Bumgarner has a chance for a win. Maxwell has hit a home run, and Pence has got the other RBI for the Giants, and that was a double down the left field line that scored Joe Panik, who had led off the inning with a walk. So Delgado with his second inning of work, and he will face Maxwell. It'll be Maxwell, Belt, and then pitcher spot or Contos. We'll wait and see. Is Delgado's first pitch goes to the backstop. John Miller's back from the radio side. Andrew Chafin in the bullpen. So while John was on radio, just not mentioning this for any other reason, but while he was on radio, the Giants did not get a hit. So I bet you were really good at calling those outs. And while he was on radio, the Diamondbacks got one hit. You were pitching like crazy over there.
Thank goodness I wasn't making an audition tape. Well, we're not going to hire him. He's too boring.
It's 2-0 to Maxwell. Yeah, Charlie Finney wouldn't have been happy about that.
Well, you know, that happened to a guy once. He had a chance to do a game, and all of his innings were 3 up and 3 down. And then he didn't get hired because he said, well, he's just not very exciting.
He's boring.
Well, how exciting is he supposed to be on ground outs to shortstop and pop ups to the catcher?
There's a strike to Maxwell. Yeah, it doesn't sound very well if. And the pitch. There's a pop up.
Holy cow. Look how high up it went.
3-1 to Maxwell. Swinging a foul out of play. So Delgado, after falling behind, has now gotten the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Belt on deck.
Charlie Finley, the notorious former owner of the A's way back when you and I were just starting our careers in baseball, once fired a veteran announcer.
Hit high into center field, but it looks like Pollock's got room.
Man, that sounded great off the bat, didn't it? But some writer asked Charlie Finley, says, well, why would you fire him? He's a veteran. Everybody seemed to like him. He wasn't exciting enough when nothing was happening, so he fired him.
Yeah.
Let that be a lesson to us.
Not surprised, given the stories I've heard from all of the folks that have been associated with Charlie over the years in Oakland. Here's Belt. Belt 1 for 2. First time in this game he'll face a right-hander, and he takes outside for a ball.
Giants play the A's this coming weekend at AT&T Park.
They do. Very exciting. A's are playing better. They're leading 11-0 today in Oakland against the Twins. Overshift is on for Belt. Ahmed is the only defender on the left side, and Belt takes outside 3-0. So Delgado doing what he did to Maxwell, and that's fall behind 3-0.
A few teams do this now. Instead of moving, everybody just moves over. The shortstop stays at shortstop, which makes sense. And the third baseman, in this case Hill, moves over to second base, and the second baseman, Owings, is the guy who moves out into right field.
There's a strike. Well, it really makes sense for Hill because he's more of a second baseman than he is a third baseman.
He was at one time as one of the best fielding second basemen, especially in his days in Toronto with the Blue Jays.
Swing and a miss. That in on his hands. The Belt, it's 3-2.
It looked like Brandon asked Paul Nauert, the plate umpire, if maybe he swung at ball 4, if that was going to be called a strike. good to know one way or the other.
Good to know. Delgado trying to come back after falling behind 3-0. And he walked him. So Contos is going to bat. Now, whether he hits or not, we don't know. He's probably going to be asked to bunt.
I asked George what he did during the All-Star break, because a lot of guys went places. A lot of big group of Giants players went to Lake Tahoe to enjoy the mountain air and jump into the cold waters of Lake Tahoe just to have a good time. Contos said, I went to Chicago. I said, Chicago? He says, why not? It's one of the greatest cities in the world.
Absolutely.
Of course, George is from Chicago.
So he is good bunt. Delgado is going to just throw to first, and did not even look comfortable throwing to first. I can't imagine what it would look like going to second.
He never, for even a moment, looked at second or had any intention of doing anything but throwing it to first.
No, watch. John's exactly right. I mean, Bell could have fallen down, and Delgado would not have even paid attention to it. So here's Pagan. Pagan is hitless in 3 at-bats.
Well, this is the first time they've had a runner in scoring position since the 3rd inning. It's the first time they've had a runner anywhere since the 3rd inning.
Just outside to Pagan, maybe low. Pagan 6 for 12 with 3 doubles against Randall Delgado. Two and 0, and maybe Delgado knows that, and he'd prefer to pitch to Panic.
Yeah, or maybe if he pitches around him, Chip Hale may prefer that Chafin pitch to Panic.
Exactly. I get a pretty good idea on this pitch what Delgado's got in store in this at bat. Pagan gets tired of waiting.
I think I figured out what he wants to do here. He does not want to throw a pitch at all.
He would prefer to wait it out, which it doesn't work that way.
Sooner or later you have to throw one. In this case, later.
So it's 2-0. Inside corner, 2 balls and 1 strike. Giants with a run in the 2nd, the Maxwell home run, and then a run in the 3rd on the Pence double. It's been quiet for both teams since the 3rd inning. Hit to left. Inciarte, and that'll end the inning. Today, USAA would like to pay special recognition to all of our service members at home and abroad.
With the singing of God Bless
for the Giants. This game is directly opposite of the first two games in this series. Giants had 16 hits on Friday. Arizona had 14. 10 hits for Arizona last night. The Giants with 14. You can follow the Giants all season with the MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. You get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. We use it every day. And he may be using it right now, for all we know.
It is. If you're a baseball fan, it's the greatest thing ever.
It is. You can watch every game, every day. And you can pick which announcers for which team you'd like to listen to.
And I know they oftentimes have the option. You could watch a telecast, but with the radio audio added to it. So they give you a lot of options.
Very cool.
And if you maybe don't have Wi-Fi, you don't have enough juice to see the you can get it all the radio broadcasts.
All the radio. Here's Hill, who takes a pitch inside, 1-0. It'll be Hill, Chris Owings, and then it'll be Delgado, or more probable, a pinch hitter. Hill is 1 for 2. Shoots this one into center field, and it's going to be a base hit to open up the inning. Hill, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what his average is coming into the series, he is going to hit well against the Giants. He just does. So here's Owings.
Hill and Cliff Pennington is another guy. Javier Lopez is warming up in the Giants bullpen, and Pennington has come out on deck with Owings at the plate, the pitcher's spot, and Pennington, the would-be pinch hitter, is out on deck.
Pennington is a switch hitter. So here's Owings, and a called strike. Owings is flied out and he's bounced out. So Cantos in place of Bumgarner, who left the game after 5. And a soft toss to first. If you think about Hill as far as a base stealer, he's got 4. He's been thrown out once. Hit high to right field. Hunter Pence moving in towards the line, and as he drifts into foul territory, he makes the catch. So Owings departs, and here's Pennington.
Pennington came up as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning last night, facing Jake Peavy, and hit a home run against him. His only home run all year.
So Pennington steps up.
Pennington has never batted against Cantos in a big league game.
And the first pitch is wide. Nick Ahmed is on deck. Runner goes. Swing and a miss. Posey's throw is going to be offline. Crawford speared it and caught it to keep it going into center field. And Hill with his 5th steal of the year.
Crawford, after making the nice play to get to the ball. Caught it and then tried to slap a tag on the back of Aaron Hill.
Now here's what you're talking about. And you really do have to make sure you keep that ball from going into center field. You don't want Hill scrambling over to third. So here's the 1-1 pitch coming up to Pennington. Fouled out of play, 1-2.
And that is still a part of Cato's game. He's improved in so many areas, becoming an extremely reliable, one of the most reliable relievers in the Giants bullpen. Just having a superb season, but he's not always as quick as the Giants would like with a runner who might try to steal, as was the case there, which I think Buster tried to make that throw so quickly. That was why that ball kind of sailed on him.
And Crawford's keeping Hill close at second. There's a backdoor breaking ball, 2-2. Sunday afternoon baseball. Not many day games here in the desert. Sunday, that's the exception. 92 was the temperature outside first pitch, 78 inside. Hit on the ground to Belt. Belt's got it. Belt will take it himself. So the very tough Pennington is retired. And here's Ahmed.
Shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
And this now becomes something where Buster Posey, his ball blocking abilities are key, because at some point with this right-handed hitter up, Contos may want to break off one of his signature sliders and maybe bounce one.
It's been a long series for Buster Posey. Caught all the entire ball game on Friday, and then of course Susac got injured early in the game yesterday, and he came in to catch. And that's what you're talking about. And it's down low, blocked by Posey. 1 ball and no strikes.
That may have gotten a piece of Buster. He's going to get a few moments here to try to shake that off.
Hit his hand.
Well, let's take a look. The cutter.
You got him maybe in a number of different places.
Hector Sanchez is here. They did place Andrew Susac on the disabled list just before the game with a right thumb sprain sustained last night. And Hector is here as the backup catcher. Wow.
Buster's thinking, look, I kind of get maybe if it's a slider or if these fastballs in the dirt, I'm not really ready for it. I saw him backhand that one like he would if he was playing first. So it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Okay, so Buster's gotten some good work in on his ball blocking.
And a pitch to hit for Ahmed, and he fouls it back. It's one where George is thinking, I'm probably not going to throw that one again.
Well, it makes you a little nervous about Contos right now, because he bounced a couple, then he was determined not to bounce one, and look where that one ended up.
Look at this location.
Little cutter at 86 miles an hour.
2 balls and a strike. Yeah, that's nasty. 2-2.
And that looked like his signature slider. And that was a good one.
I think he really would have liked John to save it for Ahmed having 2 strikes on him, but he may just throw it again.
Well, if he could throw it just like that, I don't know that it would be hittable for Ahmed.
Hunter Pence with room. Side retired. So Cantos does a nice job after Hill opened up the inning with a base hit. 8th inning coming up. 2-1 Giants. Giants postgame live. You get highlights, reactions, and analysis. It's all coming up right after the ball game. It's a 2-1 lead for the Giants. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service. Your oil change tune-up and brake experts. It's Daniel Hudson, who throws very hard. And saw Hudson pitch an inning on Friday with a walk and a couple of strikeouts. He did not give up a base hit. So he is on the pitch. He'll be facing the heart of the Giants lineup. And here to tell you about the 8th is John Miller.
Hudson to Panic, and then Duffy, and then Buster Posey. Those are the 3 due-ups. Joe Panic has been held hitless. He's grounded out, walked, and scored a run. He scored the run that is the reason the Giants are leading right now. That was in the 3rd inning, and then he fouled out his last time to the 3rd baseman. Fastball blazing in there at 95 miles an hour. They're still in a rain delay in San Diego.
Unbelievable.
5th inning, not an official game, 1-0. Colorado leading the Padres. And that's where the Giants are heading next.
We might get there in time to do a practice inning or two.
I mean, Ted Leitner needs a couple innings off.
Yeah, Ted, take a walk.
I can't believe they're in a rain delay in the middle of July in San Diego.
Unbelievable.
The Mets finally scored in the 13th inning to go ahead of St. Louis, and then immediately their closer came in after sitting around all that time, and he blew the save. They're in the 14th. Quite a game there. That was Jonathan Neese started that one for the Mets. Two and 1 the count. And a foul off the left field line. It was really in this ballpark last summer. Not much later than this. It was soon after Panic had been brought up to the big leagues along with Matt Duffy. And he got his first start here. And he had an excellent game, all around game. And he hit a ball over the left fielder's head. He had a backspin drive to deep left. And that's really, the Giants said, wow, they were pretty impressed with what they saw from him. Giants fans starting to make some noise here. And that's a base hit for Joe Panik. Not a bad pitch from Hudson's point of view, and Panik hit a sharp roller right through the right side.
Well, if you're going to hit for a high average like it looks like Joe Panik is going to do this year, and you hit the ball fairly hard on the ground, in this ballpark you're going to get your hits.
So now Matt Duffy, and listen to those Giants fans try to inspire their team. That hit by Panik, the Giants' first hit since the third inning, only their 5th of the game. Giants had 14 hits here last night and 16 Friday night. 14 runs and 30 hits the first 2 games. But today, Bumgarner the starter, and runs have been a premium on both sides. 2-1 Giants, 8th inning. All of the scoring occurred in the 2nd and 3rd innings in this game. Pollock, plenty of room out there, the big part of the yard. And Matt Duffy is 0 for 3. Plus, he was hit by a pitch his first time. Panik back to first. And now Buster Posey.
Catcher Buster Posey.
Buster hit a single to right in the first inning, and then he clobbered one, but to the deepest part of the yard, deep left center, right out toward that 413 marker, and A.J. Pollock ran it down. And Buster struck out his last time against Delgado. So Buster Posey 1 for 3 in the game, hitting .318 for the year and a .386 on base percentage. His OPS is almost up to 900. Ball 1 from Daniel Hudson. Posey only 2 hits and 11 career at bats versus Hudson. Joe Panik at first with 1 out. Dodgers won their game 5-0 in Washington. On the out of town scoreboard, back of Zach Greinke. Tough hop, and Hill in the dirt, but scooped out by Owings in time to force out Panik. Wow, that was a risk. An excellent grab of a tough hop, though, by Hill.
Well, this is where you thank your second baseman, because this was a horrible throw by Hill. Not only was it an off-balance throw, but it was not a short hop throw. And Owings just did a great job of coming up and acting like a first baseman to make the play. I had that ball for a second just rolling out into right field.
It certainly looked to be a disaster in the making for the D-backs. So now Hunter Pence, Posey at first, not a fast runner, but Goldschmidt holds on the bag against him, and there's ball 1. Pence hit a double down the left field line with 2 down in the 3rd inning, and that knocked in the run by which the Giants are still leading this game. It was Pence's 24th RBI of the year. He's only played in, this is his 26th game. Pence is 1 for 3 overall today. He changed up. 82 miles an hour. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Arizona bullpen is quiet. The Giants have action going in their bullpen. And that goes right to the backstop. And that's a very big 90 feet. Suddenly Buster Posey could be in scoring position. Now a base hit could get him home.
Yeah, this is an important 90 feet. Not much Castillo could do. See how he goes about trying to block this. Well, he tried to grab it like a first baseman, and more so than not, that's not going to work.
So now 2-1 the count to Pence. A wild pitch thrown by Daniel Hudson. Changed up again. 2-2.
Well, he's got good stuff. I mean, when you have that combination of that really high velocity fastball and then you throw that changeup.
And there's a big disparity between, he's got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball going right now and then 82-mile-an-hour changeup.
And he has got the perfect stuff to come out of the bullpen.
2-2 to Pence. Hunter Strickland, the right-hander, is up in the Giants bullpen. And went back to that changeup again. Why not? Got a couple of swings and misses with it already. Pence took this one. Full count. Joe Panik at second, ready to. I beg your pardon, Buster Posey at second. Panik had initially gotten aboard with a single. Posey at second, ready to take off with the crack of the bat. Let's see if he could score a run on a base hit here from Pence. Hudson will finally get a visit from Wellington Castillo, so they couldn't agree as to what pitch to throw here.
Well, as much as we dislike a lot of conferences, if that's the issue you're having, then you have to go out and have a word.
So is that, you think the pitcher really has something definite in mind and the catcher has a very strong opinion that that's the wrong pitch?
Yeah, absolutely. And the pitcher is the guy that has the last say so.
So the pitcher can tell him face to face, well, here's why I want that, and the catcher maybe can say, well, here's why I think we should go the other way.
And a lot of times you don't even have to tell them why. You say, look, this is what I'm going to throw.
3-2 to Pence. Let's find out what it is right here. The fastball, the high, hard one, and he blew it right by him at 97 miles an hour. The big hit is coming up for Arizona.
And this little guy have a little bit of fun with Hunter Pence, and Hunter Pence acknowledged that good little Giants fan with his mom and dad, and we found a baseball, and we handed it to this little guy, and it made his day along with mom and dad. And if you see that smile on the whole family, then that was the right thing to do. So way to go. Good looking group, isn't it?
Had the exploding hands going there and everything.
Absolutely. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and brake experts. Lopez to face Inciarte.
So Lopez likely in here for just the one batter with Goldschmidt and Pollock. The top two Arizona hitters, both right-handed. On deck is Goldschmidt, and Strickland getting ready in the bullpen. 1-1 the count. Here's Hunter Strickland. Mark Gardner, the bullpen coach.
Well, it's not a secret who Strickland knows who he's going to face.
Panic over to his right. Slings it over to first for the out. He knew Inciarte is a fast runner, so he didn't waste any time getting that throw off, and Lopez gets his job done. Yeah. Strickland will be brought in here to face Paul Goldschmidt. A big confrontation with a 1-run lead for the Giants.
Authority of the San Francisco Giants. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of San Francisco Baseball Associates, LLC.
Hunter Strickland on for the Giants with a 2-1 lead here in the desert. 27,173, the paid crowd at Chase Field. And we've got the big confrontation, the hard-throwing right-hander against the all-star and one of the best hitters in the game, Paul Goldschmidt, leading the league in hitting, leading the league in RBIs, and among the league leaders in home runs. And that's the operative word here. He's got to keep Goldschmidt in the park. Yep. He has not given up a home run since being called up from the minor leagues. 22 innings pitched. Goldie 2 for 3 in the game, and he snaps a good slider in there for a called strike. He steals the strike.
Now you steal it because Goldschmidt's thinking about the 97-mile-an-hour fastball,
and that slider notwithstanding, probably still looking for the same thing. Another slider high in the air, shallow center. Pagan, and just after losing his cap, makes the grab.
Well, you can imagine what it's like for Pagan or any outfielder when a guy like Goldschmidt in this ballpark takes a healthy rip. Your natural move is going to be at least to stop, maybe even move back a couple of steps. And I'm not exactly sure what Pagan did, but he did get there in time.
And you see how Hunter Pence was right there. Pence knows that Pagan's playing hurt. He got that bone bruise on his left knee, and Pence is really hot. He was not close to that ball when it was hit. He raced all the way over from right field to get there just in case Pagan needed any help. First ball swinging, and Pollock a single to center. But Pollock got that fastball that Goldschmidt was looking for, and he hit it hard right over the middle. As Josh Osich is now warming up, the left-hander in the Giants bullpen. Wellington Castillo, the right-handed hitting catcher, coming up now. They have some tough lefties still available on their bench, including David Peralta, who's had a great series, and Jake Lamb. So Bruce Bochy's got the left-handed getting ready just in case Chip Hale decides to play one of those cards. The Giants have a 2-1 lead. Pollock is a guy who can steal a base.
Yeah.
Back safely.
He was leaning.
He's had 19 steals. He leads the D-backs in that category. Been thrown out 6 times. He's got the 5th most steals of any base stealer in the National League this year. You see Strickland using that little slide step.
Yeah.
1 ball and no strikes.
Well, he's got to decide. Do I feel comfortable with that slide step? I mean, if it does mess with you coming to the plate, then you got to worry about coming to the plate.
Fastball, and that was ripped into left field. So he's given up a couple of hard hit base hits on fastballs to Pollock and Castillo. Here is Tomas. Buster Posiak to talk with Hunter Strickland.
I mean, maybe something like, look, yeah, they got a couple hits off your fastball, but you can't be discouraged by that. Meeting on the mound is brought to you by Ring Central.
So now Tomas, who's singled, struck out, and grounded out.
And if you're the Giants, you know the history of Tomas, and that history is he's going to like that first pitch.
Two men on, 2 men out. A base hit could tie the game. Slider. Indeed, he went after it, and that was a beauty. Nasty slider, and he threw that kind of a slider as if in anticipation of, hey, he's liable to swing at it even if it's a slider.
Absolutely. Tomas doesn't want to walk.
One and one. Well, Buster has to be very lively back there with Strickland throwing sliders. Right now, you've got the possible tying run in scoring position. But if there's a wild pitch, all of a sudden the tying and go-ahead runs are both in scoring position. Tomas, who's hitting .305 in his rookie season in Major League Baseball. 2 on, 2 out. 2 and 1. Aaron Hill on deck. Javier Lopez got Inciarte to lead off the inning. And then Strickland came on and got Paul Goldschmidt, but A.J. Pollock promptly singled to center, and then Castillo almost as quickly ripped a single to left. 2 and 1 to Tomas. A big pitch here. Fastball. Pence going back in right field. Now he squares up right at the edge of the track. 3 straight hitters hit his fastball hard. 2-1 Giants on to the ninth. Giants and the Pods tomorrow, and Mike Krukow will return from assignment as Tim Hudson returns from the disabled list to make the start against Ian Kennedy and the Padres. There'll be complete pre- and post-game coverage, and Giants insider Alex Pavlovich at CSNBayArea.com as well.
When it's time for a change, think Speedy. Oil change and auto service. Your oil change tune-up in brake experts.
Andrew Chafin, the new pitcher for the Padres, with Crawford, the lefty, to lead off. 2-1 Giants. Kite.
All right, here is Crawford. Crawford struck out 3 times, so he'd like to break that string. And he takes a strike on the outside corner. Perfect pitch. Maxwell to follow, and then Belt. Giants would like nothing better than to get a couple of insurance runs here in the 9th. The Diamondbacks are out hitting the Giants. 8 hits to 5. The 1-1 to Crawford. Crawford, sharp ground ball up the middle. On the backhand is Owens, and the former shortstop throws out Crawford and 1 out. The word around here was if you watch the D-backs play every day, they just don't beat themselves. They're very good defensively. They put the ball in play, and that's why they were telling us that the game on Friday was a little uncharacteristic on how they've been playing. Remember, they won by a throwing error by Cliff Pennington in the 12th.
Pennington, who was the first chance that he had in that game after coming in place of Nick Ahmed, the regular shortstop.
So here's Maxwell, who homered in the 2nd. If you're thinking about the bottom of the 9th, it'll be Hill, Owens, and then a pinch hitter.
The game sort of needed saving right there in the 8th inning.
Absolutely.
Talking about the closer in the 9th, but they needed that closer kind of stuff in the 8th.
There's a late called strike. Maxwell made a great catch earlier in the game. Didn't think he was going to get there, and then he's really long and lean, and he timed the dive perfectly.
That kept Goldschmidt from coming up next.
Good. High and away, 2 balls and a strike.
There would have been extra bases for Inciarte and Paul Goldschmidt trying to knock him in against Bumgarner. And he had already had 2 hits against Bumgarner.
Two and 1 to Maxwell. Swinging a high drive into right center field. This baby is caught at the wall. I thought he had it.
Right at the resort, and that's the place to make him hit it. We've said that several times this weekend. And to the opposite field, that is a long clout by Maxwell, and too bad because he really hit it well.
We see a lot of balls hit that well that go out, but not today. So here's Belt. Belt is 1 for 2. He's been on base twice. And he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Cardinals and Mets are in the 15th inning. Bottom of the 15th. That kind of unusual, and the rain delay in San Diego, very unusual. Right where the Giants are headed.
The Mets had gone ahead in the 13th, and then Yuris Familia, their outstanding closer, been waiting around for that opportunity all day long, and then he gave up the run. He blew the save.
Nope. Shaking his head is home plate umpire Paul Nauert.
Santiago Casilla will be coming on in the last of the ninth.
Out of play, 2-2. Joaquin Arias has grabbed the bat. He's in the on-deck circle.
Cardinals, that game has gone on such a long time that Carlos Martinez, who's been an all-star, made the all-star team for them as a starting pitcher. They brought him in to pitch the 15th inning.
2-2 to Belt. High chopper to Goldschmidt, and that'll end the inning. They're chasing with a 1-2-3. Top of the ninth. You see it coming in. 2-1 Giants. Hey. Game live right here on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area to get reaction to this game, to get highlights from the major leagues in round 3 of the Open. All good stuff. 2-1 Giants here in the bottom of the ninth. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Auto Service, your oil change tune-up and brake experts. It's Santiago Casilla as he comes into the ball game. His numbers, and he'll be going after the always tough Aaron Hill. Hill is 0 for 9 against Santiago Casilla. Then it's Chris Owings, and then it's a pinch hitter. So here's Hill. Hill is 2 for 3. And a strike, and it's 0-1. And as we always like to say with Santiago Casilla, he throws that first pitch strike, it just seems to settle him down. Just a little bit outside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
It looks like that cutter that he has really put into play in a big way this year. It's become a real go-to kind of a pitch for him.
Hits the outside corner. Hill thought it might have been outside. It's 1-2.
Another cutter, and he got the call on that one.
Five hits for the Giants, 8 hits for Arizona. And the Giants hanging on to a 1-run lead. It's 1-2 to Hill. Hit into center field with room. 1 out. Well, you can turn into the Murph and Mac morning show on KNBR tomorrow morning. Mike will talk about the game with the fellas, Murph and Mac, on KNBR 680, the sports leader. I don't think the ball's carrying very well into that area. I thought Hill hit that ball pretty good. I know Maxwell hit his ball very well.
Well, that ball sounded great off Hill's bat. It was a fat pitch, a hanging curveball. It just didn't go anywhere.
So here's Owens, and he lines it into left field, a base hit.
Peralta, who had a couple of big games in this series, on the bench today, but he's coming up now as the pinch hitter for Chafin.
Number 6.
See what he's done in this series. And he went to the opposite field last night.
He had a triple his first at bat last night, then hit that opposite field homer against Jake Peavy. He had 2 triples the first night in. So he's been a real tough out, and he's not been hitting a bunch of singles either. He's been doing some serious damage.
First pitch is low. Lamb is on deck.
Sorry, Ted. You have to keep a close eye on Owens as well. He's the possible tying run over at first base, and he's had 12 steals and 13 tries this year.
Two balls and no strikes to Peralta.
D-backs like to run. They've had 1 steal today, and they've had 82 steals this year.
Runner goes. Swinging a bouncing ball. It's going to be Padres who moves to his left. And even had the runner Owens not been going, we would have had the same outcome. So now here's Jake Lamb, who's going to pinch hit with 2 outs.
Pinch hit for Nick Ahmed, number 19.
So tying run, Owens is at second base. See the numbers for Lamb. He's hitting at 276 this year. Lamb 1 for 3 lifetime against Casilla. 0-1 on a breaking ball.
And I know Mike Krukow always likes to point out with Casilla, unlike a lot of closers, he's got a big repertoire of pitches, and that curveball can be a great one for him. He hung one earlier in the inning, got away with it. That he stole a strike with.
Hit on the ground towards the hole. Duffy got him, and that's the ball game. And the Giants do what they needed to do, and that start out the second half of the season with a bang.
The Giants, it was Bumgarner's game, but he ended up only going 5 innings. He had the high pitch count, and then the bullpen just came up big time. 4 shutout innings to preserve this win for Madison Bumgarner. They get only 2 runs. They get kind of shut down, and yet that was enough to win.
They win in a different fashion than they did the first 2 games of this series. Final score, Giants 2, Diamondbacks 1. Stay tuned. Esurance, Giants postgame live. That's going to start right now.